Welcome back to the No Judges Necessary podcast, where we got the opinions like DC, we're crazy like Gaethje, and we're as high as O'Malley. We're the podcast for fight fans that want to see fists fly and don't want to wait on the judges. I'm your host, Brick, and as always, my cornerman, Nil, and Matty P. How we
What
doing,
up,
boys?
Chilling, we living, fam. We're out here.
Early morning potting, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, a little different this time. You know, it's the holiday season. I got a bit of a road game. I'm actually back at my parents' house. Nil and P still back out in Arizona for now, but had a little time on a Friday. You know, it's kind of like those early fights in Dubai. You know, a little different time, a little different energy, but I'm excited.
Hell yeah.
I'm down. It's still a podcast at the end of the day. We're still talking fights. Don't matter what time it is.
Yes, sir. And I think that brings us right into it, unless anything that y'all want to kick it off with. But some weird time fights this morning. One championship winner, Warriors 2. I believe we want to talk a little bit about it. Perfectly
Yes,
honest, I usually live stream for these. I just flew in late last night. Time zone screwed me all up. I woke up after the fight. So I don't have much for you. I saw a few highlights, but we're going to let Nil handle this section.
All right, so we had a featherweight bout that I want to talk about. We had Fabricio Andrade out of Brazil, Tiger Muay Thai fighter, taking on Kai Wen Lee. Kai Wen Lee is an absolute knockout artist from China, and he's very exciting to watch. And they call Andrade the Wonder Boy because he's got a very high ceiling, very good prospect. They went to fucking war for a round. This was absolute back and forth, nonstop action. And Andrade just got the better of him. And when he hurt him, he put that pressure on. He smelled blood in the water, and man just went for the kill. And I was impressed. Let's see how many wins in a row that is for Andrade inside one. That's 3 straight wins, all by stoppage too. So only 5-2 in his MMA career. Started out 1-2, so not the greatest, but the kid's on the come up and lethal striker. And
one's bantamweight division definitely could use some younger life. We obviously have a few stars at the top and in the top 5, but I definitely could see them, looking for a few new, heavy-handed prospects to come through.
Next fight I want to get into, Vitaly Bigdash. Vitaly Bigdash took on Rong Fan out of China. Bigdash is a legend and won championship. He fought Aung Lang Sa, who's one of the all-time greats in this sport. They fought a trilogy. So, I mean, that just shows what Bigdash is about. Bigdash is one of these, wrestlers from Russia that's just got an overhand right and is just a tough son of a bitch. And, yeah, he won by rear naked choke in this fight. I believe it was the second round. I want to say he kind of just made it grimy and ugly fight and just sort of used his endurance, toughness, and cardio to his advantage. Got it in the second round and just found the choke.
And his style really reminds me a lot of Oleinik. Like that just Russian wrestler style. He's gonna make it. He's gonna make it a tough fight. And I think that type of style in one championship at that. This one was a catch weight, but he's normally what? Light heavy, I believe?
Yeah, light heavyweight.
Yeah, in that light heavyweight division, that type of wrestling background, I think, can really give some problems and probably propel him right towards the top 5.
He called out Aung La after the fight, too. Great. They fought a trilogy, years ago, and, shit happened. Yeah, you guys have moved on. They've moved on to bigger and better shits. But now here he is calling him out. Absolutely love it.
I honestly wish just in general, and one championship's decent at this, but I wish that stuff happened more often where two guys fought, and obviously career paths go so differently, but I want to see more rematches, trilogies, even fourth fights down the road. Hey, okay, we fought back in the day. Now we've each had 6-8 fights. Let's run it back. Let's see what we're at now in our career. Because sometimes I feel right? I feel like sometimes, we kind of got it with, Poirier and McGregor, but it is. I think there is an aspect of like, all right, we scrapped him. We're young, and now let's scrap his vets.
Yep,
Definitely.
absolutely. So you want to talk about vets and a youngster? The next fight is exactly that. We had Kevin Bellingham, who Kevin Bellingham is essentially. I was trying to find a good way to describe this guy. He's essentially Cody Garbrandt with more fights in one championship. He is, he's on a 4-fight skid right now, but this cat won a shitload of fights, captured the belt, defeated Bibiano Fernandez, who was an 8-time, defended the belt like 8 times. So pretty much it reminded me of when Garbrandt took out Cruz. And then his career's kind of gone downhill a little bit since then, but he's still an absolute legend in the sport.
And legend of Thailand. Like, you bring up that name in Thailand, like...
Oh, Philippines.
Or Philippines, sorry. I'm sorry. Team Lakai.
Yeah, Team Lakai out of the Philippines.
He was one of the real, like, not founding members of Team Lakai, but he was one of the members that really joined on at the beginning of this one championship journey and really started the overall dominance of Team Lakai.
Now, he fought Kwang Won Il. Kwang Won Il is an absolute savage. I don't know if I've seen a guy at 145 pounds who has more power. I don't know if I've seen it. Now, when you look at this guy, he looks like me. Tall, skinny, lanky. You're like, how does he hit hard? But when he hits people, they fucking drop. They don't move. It's incredible to watch it.
In a way, he seems like a more reckless O'Malley. Like, that kind of seems like that long, real sharp striking, but he's just a little more reckless with it. He's not quite as sharp and technical as like an O'Malley striker, but he's that long, real, like, quick strikes that have some real power that, and like Nil said, in his build and when he's throwing it, it doesn't seem like someone who would have, massive power, but you can see it in the opponents.
No, when he lands that fucking straight right hand, bro, people drop. And it's absolutely incredible to see. This cat deserves a title shot. Kwang Won Il deserves the next shot at the belt. You don't come in here and get 4 straight KOs like he has and not get a chance to fight for the belt. And the way he did it too. He started throwing 1-2 combinations. Bellingham kept his hands up high. After maybe the third 1-2 combination, he ripped a left hook to the liver, and it just absolutely folded Bellingham in half. And that was pretty much the fight right there.
Do you know if Bibiano Fernandez is scheduled right now?
I don't know. Because
that really would be a great fight. I wouldn't, if you're going to make him wait, if Bibiano is scheduled, I guess it would only really be against John Lineker. Like, Lineker would be a good matchup for him as well, but I don't know.
Mind. Kwang Won Il's lost and won before. Now, maybe he is next. I thought he was 4-0. I thought these were 4 straight. They're not. But still, he lost a rear naked choke, but still, he's got 4 knockouts inside of 1, and is absolutely electric. I think the excitement he brings to the division, you almost have to give him the next title shot.
Yeah, I mean, Bellingham was ranked number 2, so,
right.
You take that out, you got to at least be in a number 1 contender or the next, next for the title shot.
Absolutely. And now let's hop in the main event. We had Danny Kingad take on Kharat Akhmatov. Kharat Akhmatov won this fight on decision. Akhmatov 27-2. So a lot of experience, and he fought Kingad, who's 14-2. So it's like the wealth of experience clearly paid off in this fight. But Kingad is a savage. He's only lost to Adriano Moraes, the current champion, at 125, and he's lost to Demetrius Johnson. So this cat is as legit as they come. So the fact that he lost to Akhmatov makes me think Akhmatov is going to be like the next big thing. Now, I didn't watch this fight. There wasn't a whole lot of highlights on it, but I did see that it was a unanimous decision.
Yeah, that's kind of I went back and tried to watch some of the fight. Again, there wasn't a ton of action, bit of wrestling and whatnot, but that's where I'm just curious because it's like Danny Kingad was ranked 2. The only people in front of him are DJ and Moraes. So if you're not rematching DJ or Moraes, then Akhmatov almost has to get the shot. And if you are rematching Moraes and DJ, even though both of these guys probably think they deserve a title shot, give me Wakamatsu versus Akhmedov. That seems like, and then no matter what, whoever wins that fight gets the next title shot.
I'm with that, to be honest. I'm big with
Yeah.
that.
That sounds like a good call.
You're talking the guy they call the Piranha, Wakamatsu?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we
Yeah,
saw him on the first winter, and he fought 2 weeks ago, so they should be on a similar timeline.
I like that.
And what's next for Danny Kingad? I want to see him fight Reese McLaren.
That's a good fight. You're playing matchmaker right now and doing a good job.
I love the flyweight division in the one championship is one of my favorite divisions. It's absolute electricity. And it's one of those things that it's funny that, like, obviously, DJ was the big signing, but it's almost like he just brought light on this great division that is absolutely stacked with talent.
Lightning Reese McLaren, to me, all-time nickname.
Oh, yeah. I want to drive a Lightning Reese McLaren.
Yeah, correct. So
Like,
yeah, that's what we had.
What's the character from Cars name? Lightning McQueen.
Yeah. Yep.
That is great. Anything else on one or no, just give a little background. We probably did this backwards. We probably should have started with this, but give a little background about kind of Team Lakai and what this card was all about.
Yeah, I should have started with that. That's a mistake on my part, but whatever. Here we are. You fuck up the first round. It's about round 2 coming out. Yeah, so Team Lakai is a gym from the Philippines. They're known for submissions, spinning kicks, and their red trumps. And they were on full display. It was Team Lakai versus the world. Pretty much every fighter on this, every fight on this card had a guy from Team Lakai on it. So it was pretty interesting that they were kind of, our team versus the rest of the world. They've been one of the biggest gyms in one championship. They're borderline an ATT or like AKA of the UFC kind of thing. Yeah, and they're very exciting. They've been around for a long time. Sure, are they at the top like they used to be? Maybe not, but they're still one of the best gyms out there, and it's still great for the sport in general.
That's
okay, the next generation, is coming up. Like, let's see, are they as good as the first one that got them to where they were?
Yeah, and that was kind of, I like the analogy of like a team, like an AK or an ATT out here, because they really were like something that latched onto one championship early. And in 2018, they had 5 champions out of the, at the time, possible 8 belts. They now only have 1 champion. So that's kind of the progression of the sport. And you can just see that it's like, that's sort of the progression of almost all of these promotions, and one's no different, where there's usually a team that's just ahead of the game and they set the bar, and then everyone else just usually catches up and surpasses it. But Team Lakai is still legit, and I will still watch a Team Lakai fight any day of the week. Like, regardless if they're winning titles, those are going to be entertaining fights.
They usually either get knocked out or knock somebody out. So you can't go wrong watching a Team Lakai fight. I mean, even look at Kevin Bellingham, right? His last couple of fights, although they haven't gone his way, they've kind of been Cody Garbrandt-esque fights where, hey, it was back and forth. Either guy could have won it. Bellingham just got rocked and got finished.
Exactly. And that's the type of skill and entertainment and show that these guys put on, where it's really like they can lose fights or still be in competitive fights and stay pretty high in those rankings. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. They're money weight. They're a draw.
Oh yeah, no doubt. You see those red shorts, you're going to see a show.
Yep, correct.
But anything else on one, or let's move on?
No, that's what I got. That's my one shit for today.
And as I'll always tell people, that's the great thing about One Championship is they are on YouTube. So if you missed this card this morning, go back, watch these fights in their entirety on YouTube. And then let's jump into, before our recap, we got our presenting sponsor, Earth Sugar. Let me pull up the ad read here. Sorry about that. Let me get the ad read. Yeah, that was emailed to me.
Let me get
This
the mind of an ad read.
Right? This podcast is sponsored by Earth Sugar. It's a first of its kind super confectionery based out of here in Phoenix, Arizona, that specializes in raw organic desserts, energy snacks, and clean label confections and adaptogenic pantry items. Use the promo code NOJUDGES to get 25% off all their Earth Sugar products, including their limited edition holiday box that contains 4 of their Super Bar Clean Energy bars and one of their whole caramel candy micro cakes. This entire set is gluten free, vegan, paleo, and a sweet gift for any friend, family, or high performing athlete. Going off script, honestly, this stuff is awesome. It's going to be the newest thing. It's the healthiest snack in the game, and as far as the holidays coming up, it really is a great gift for someone who's trying to start a diet, someone who's training hard, or just, that maybe your brother or cousin's girlfriend who's a little earthy crunchy and kind of likes this stuff. It really is a great gift for anybody. So shout out Earth Sugar. Use promo code No Judges. But let's get into a recap of last week's UFC 269. I
Let's
can't
go.
believe it. That was a crazy card.
I can't believe it's only been a week. Feels like it's been 3 months, no?
It was like such a roller coaster. It feels like it's been like a month now.
Yeah, the card itself felt like 3 cards. Like it felt like
Absolutely it did.
the early prelims was a card, the prelims were a card, and then the main card was Jesus. But where do we start?
I don't even know where to start, dude. I mean, we started out with 2 finishes,
How deep
right?
are we going back? How deep are we going back?
Let's try to rapid fire a little bit.
Let's start at the prelims, not the early ones. Let's start Tai Tuivasa, man.
Well, I kind of want to go further back than that.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I thought Blanchfield beating the fuck out of Miranda Maverick was hella impressive. No?
Yeah. Yeah,
when I saw that fight, I was impressed. Not to like jump and go way far back here, but that stuck out to me. I wasn't expecting that performance. Put her in the crucifix, 2-3 times, was just raining shots from the top. Erin Blanchfield with this aggressive grappling was on a different level than Maverick, and I did not expect that.
Yeah, she's going to be a problem.
Was decision. I did expect a decision, which I got that. But yeah, I didn't really know. It was kind of a toss-up for me. I think I did go Maverick, but I didn't bet on her. I just bet on decision, which I was happy with. I was scared the whole time because she was getting her ass whooped.
Definitely. And shout out the tweet of the night. Did I cut out there? Nope. But shout out the tweet of the night by Kevin Holland. He said, I'm going to Blanchfieldistan for my next camp because he needs to get that wrestling in.
What a tweet.
All right, now we got to get this one over with.
Yeah.
Our boy, Eric Anders, subbed first round. Muniz is no joke, man. Anders never been subbed before. He made it look easy. Sucks. I don't know if you saw Ray was in the corner, literally,
Oh yeah,
yeah. So that was pretty cool to see our guy up there. But yeah, it sucks. Wasn't his night. No injuries though. He'll be back soon.
Yeah, it's so tough because obviously, I feel like Eric Anders is one of those, and I mean, hey, whatever I need to for Eric Anders, as long as I live. But I do think that, honestly, he is an MMA fighter that we need to look at a little differently than some of these other fighters. He got into MMA at, 22, 23 years old. He was a little bit behind the game. Now, obviously, athletically, he's right there with anyone else. But he's still learning and downloading, and there's just so much more that we're going to see out of him. And I can't – if anyone thinks this is the last of Eric Anders, you're wrong. But exactly. Mooney is going to be a problem and in the top 10 very fucking soon.
Very soon. And at middleweight, man, it's a lot of strikers. So this is a nice, he's replacing Jacare in a weird way.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I don't hate that.
Yo, you're cutting in and out right now, fam.
Yeah. Okay.
You're
A little bit. Let's move on. Let's get to this. All right, we could talk about my lock of the night that I put on Twitter. I changed my lock of the night. I switched up the Emmett fight. I did not like that after doing further research, so you can't hold me to that one. But I did put Bruno Silva knocking out Jordan Wright as my lock. That happened. Silva looked a little rocked at first too, but I just knew that fight was going to go that way.
I gotta say, nobody gets knocked out quite like Jordan Wright. He stays getting them like chicken legs, wobbles across half the octagon. He makes it look like a roller coaster ride, like it's kind of fun. And then he just gets
He's such a big guy. Like it's crazy when big guys get chicken legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like
he does the chicken dance.
Yeah, and he's a big dude, but he's kind of like awkwardly built because he's not quite tall and lanky, but he's not quite like a big burly low center of gravity, and I think that's where he kind of just becomes the wacky inflatable arm tube guy once he gets hit.
He makes knocking out.
Speaking of makes it look fun. Inflatable arm guys, let's talk about Sakai. He got folded like one of those things.
Oh yeah.
Our boy
Tai Tuivasa knocking out Augusto Sakai. The thing I got to say about Tai is he's always been a brawler. He's always had this KO power. I just feel like he's fighting just a tick smarter right now. And it's
he's an MMA fighter now. He's an MMA fighter now.
He's way more technical too. Like, yeah, he's a brawler. But he understands I can't just brawl. I have to get the situation into a brawl or get you against the cage where I can brawl. I'm not going to brawl anywhere. And that is the difference, you know. I think he's 4 fights, 4 KOs in a row. Yep. Who do we see him against next? I mean,
he just got ranked. He's now 11th in the rankings as of this morning.
Too low. He should be in the top 10. But
I mean, dude, he lost 3 fights in a row and got finished, and the UFC borderline cut him. I mean, they pretty much did. And then on his Instagram story, he was like, put a sad face. And they were like, damn, that got 3 million views. Maybe we should fucking re-sign him and just put him at the back of the rankings. So, I mean, that's kind of what happened. Like, they're just like, all right, we're going to start your career again. And now here he is, like 4-0.
Speaking of the top 10, I think an interesting fight would be the guy right in front of him, Tom Aspinall.
That's a thumper.
That's a thumper. I think that's a good one, and I think if they really want to pump him versus Rosenstrike wouldn't be too shabby.
That was the one I was calling for immediately after the fight. I thought it was a bit of a jump up, but if they want to... And honestly, if I'm the UFC, strike while the iron's hot. Like, Tai Tuivasa is the biggest star in the street. Like, oh, no doubt.
On a fight night, that's an easy main event. Everyone's tuning in, you know. But they seem to like to put Tai on pay-per-views to start, you know, building him up.
Well, it's the smartest...
When you see a Huey for free, you're going to buy the pay-per-view.
That's what I'm saying.
But they like to have like the Nelk boys there to give him the shoe. And it's a whole thing. So I wouldn't be surprised to just keep seeing him on either prelim main event or like just in the like first fight or two on the main card for big pay-per-views.
I think he also likes being that guy.
He could headline a fight night for sure.
He should, but I honestly think that he enjoys it, and I think the UFC is going to keep riding him on pay-per-view prelims as long as they can, because I genuinely believe, and I don't know what the number is, but Tai Tuivasa, the amount of people that bought that pay-per-view, or at least watched it, I'm not going to say how, but at least watched that pay-per-view because of seeing that highlight on Twitter and being reminded that the fights were on, like, that's an absolute impact. And I don't think that they'll ever give that up until he's co-main event. He needs to be in the top 5. Until he's in the top 5, they're going to keep him right where he is, and they're going to love every second of it.
It's a great spot. Speaking of great spots, look at Dom Cruz, man. He seems to be in a great spot.
Hate to
Huge
say
fight,
it.
man. I think I had Dom by decision in one of my bets, but that first round scared the shit out of me. He got clipped, but that's how you know he's not gone. He's not old yet. He's not like in retire mode. He was able to take a shot, recover, and he looks fast as fuck. His footwork's still great. This is Dom Cruz. He's not. I don't think he's faded at all or taken a step back. I think this is still vintage Cruz that's out there.
Yep, he looked just as good as we've always seen him. He came in great shape. I mean, you can't take that shot if you're not in great shape. And I wonder if he was right about that whole Keith Peterson shit. Like, hey, let me keep going. You know, he survived it and came back, and he looked better than ever. And nobody puts Pedro Munoz on the back foot like that constantly. It just keeps tagging him. People are calling for Aldo after the fight. I think that's a great matchup, but I kind of want Sandhagen. I want Sandhagen.
Sandhagen scares me for him a little bit, but I think Font works. But the thing is, Aldo makes sense.
I just want a good fight. I don't like Dom Cruz.
I like Aldo because that's a legend fight, but I really want Aldo versus TJ. If we can't get that, then yeah, let's do Dom. But man, I really want that Aldo TJ fight.
Yeah, I'm more on the same wavelength of P, where I want Aldo Dillashaw, I want Font versus Dom, and then I want Sandhagen Divasquale.
Yeah, I like that.
That's how I want to go.
Well,
and if I'm going to go down the line, give me Cheeto Marais for a little dessert.
And give me Pedro and Sean O'Malley. Fuck it.
Bingo.
All right, well, we'll wrap that up. Let's go to the next, man.
Yep, got that whole division on lock. What's next, boys?
Josh Emmett and Dan Ige, my original lock of the night, which I took back, thank God. But that was a close-ass fight. Close-ass fight. When they were raising the hands, I was like, oh, shit. Ige might pull this off. I thought it was a very close one. I ended up putting money on Emmett because I changed my mind, like I said. But that fight scared me. I thought Ige could have definitely stole that on the card.
Yeah, that was a close decision. And I do think Emmett won that fight. Not convincingly, but pretty clear cut. And I think Josh Emmett's getting in the top of, motherfuckers you just don't want to fight. I'm not saying he's the best fighter. I'm not saying he's ever going to be a champion. But that's just a dude that I would just not want to do 15 minutes with.
No, Josh Emmett's a real problem. His power clearly changes fights. I mean, to be able to put people on the back foot and just change how rounds go it's a game changer. And I think he's going to ride this for a while. I don't know if he's ever going to win a belt, but I think he gets in the mix real quick. I think he has to. He's going to get a seat at the big boys table, at the fucking contenders table. He's finally got a chair now, or he's right at the back end of the table.
But that's what also interests me with Josh Emmett, and that's where I almost want him to get, I don't know, thrown to the wolves, but I think
exactly what I'm saying.
Has he fought Cater?
I don't know. Has he?
I think he should fight the loser of Cater and Giga.
Yeah, I love that. I actually love that because it's kind of one of those things that it's even in that Ige fight, he left a lot of opportunities open. He's just a tough son of a bitch who didn't let those opportunities kill him. You know?
Wait, he fought Giga too?
No. No, I'm saying in the Ige fight, in his last fight.
Oh.
I'm saying, he beat Dan Ige, but he left a lot of opportunities open that if you let some of these killers at the top of this division hit you in the way that Ige did, or have those spots, I don't know if Emmett's going to have enough to really be at the top, but that chin's going to get him a long way.
Yeah, no, and Cater and Emmett never fought. I think that's a fight that we will see that eventually one day. It seemed like they already had fought. I definitely think we'll see it. I'm with you guys. I want Cater to get this dub over Giga. I think we've already established we're not Giga fans, or at least I have, for no reason at all. Just got to pick some people you don't like sometimes. Probably a great guy.
Honestly, I've been trying to low-key do that a little more because, like, as the pod's gone on and as I've gotten more into Twitter and the fight world, a lot of times it's like, oh, I love these fucking 6 fighters, and then they all come on up, and then it's like, shit, I like 6 of the top 8, like, and then they're gonna fight each other.
I gotta start picking against. I gotta start disliking. Well, not
right.
When I say dislike, it's not like I don't like them as a person. I just
this isn't Sam Alvey.
It's like a basketball team. Like, I just going against them. Like,
yo, somebody trolled Sam Alvey hard the other day.
All right. Well, maybe him. Maybe we'll.
Oh no, that's personal. Yeah, that's that's like hating. Like the other guys are just like, we don't really like him. We don't root for him. Some
guy was like, it was something, I can't find it exactly, but it was something about Juliana Pena and how she beat Nunes. And Sam Alvey was like, I don't know if the choke was really in. And some guy was like, I don't know if you've really lost 9 fights in a row or some shit. And it was just great.
That's great.
Keep going.
All right. Well, we got the Sugar Show,
Yeah, about feeding someone to the wolves. This is the next guy it's fucking sink or swim time, dude. I'm sick of this guy KOing someone that's 18-3 who's ranked 13th. All right? Let's get him in the top 6 right fucking now, and let me see what you're about. I don't give a fuck. He's a big draw. He has some skills. He's knocking people out. Let's see if you're fucking about it. This is the UFC. It's a sink or swim business.
Okay, let's fucking get to giving him this? Let's get to the point. Your matchmaker. Who are you feeding him? I think Pedro Munoz is a great jump, but he's on a little bit of a losing skid, so that kind of wouldn't be the Wolves right now.
Let me pull up the bantamweight rankings.
Cheeto Vera.
Yeah, that would be a great
rematch. Marlon Moraes wouldn't be hate.
Rob Font, Merab Divashvili, Corey Sandhagen. Like, that's the mix I think he needs to get in. Frankie Edgar.
Don't give him Frankie Edgar. Please.
All right, so Merab Divashvili.
I don't want to see that. I do not want to see another Frankie Edgar beatdown where he's just a meme or some shit. Let the guy, fight somebody else. Let Frankie fight, like, I don't know.
Let him fight Merab. That's the fight. O'Malley versus Merab.
All I know is that I am buying.
That's the fight. Let's see. Is he about it? Can he survive this fucking wrestler and this real MMA guy, or is he going to KO him?
They'll never do that.
Why? Striker versus grappler. It's a main event.
They want to get him to that level, and Merab is like the worst type of matchup. And yes, it's the best test theoretically, but I think they're going to go more.
It also makes sense in the rankings. What are you going to throw him, Rob Font?
No, I think I could see a Marlon Moraes. I could see.
Or Pedro. I think it's Pedro or Moraes, honestly.
Yeah, one of those two. Possibly a Cheeto rematch.
Because I think
maybe if they want to really jump in, a Rob Font fight. Because Rob Font's not a bitch. He'll take that. They're both big names. That's an easy.
Yeah, I think it's more they do
on a pay-per-view card. He's gonna be on a pay-per-view card, so you got to think like.
But I think that's where I like it in like Pedro or Marlon, so that I think if he wins that fight, then they can project him right into like they're gonna throw him Sandhagen or they're gonna throw him like TJ off a loss or something like. That's where they can then go superstar.
A 5 through 10 guy before he gets to the 1 through 5 guys.
Yeah, so Rob Divashvili is your man's. That's such a good fight to see if he can be about it.
The UFC has like fire in their hand with O'Malley. They're not going to dump a bunch of water, suffocating Divashvili on him.
Oh
Correct. Correct. If they don't have to, they won't do it. They'll want him to be able to just put on a show and strike with one of these killers.
That's the fight.
I think we're going to see Corey and Divashvili, to be honest.
I agree with that. I like that. But I don't know. It's gonna be tough. All I know though, all I'm confident in is I'm buying all the sugar I can out of the Phoenix area. Whether it's Earth Sugar or the Sugar Show, I'm putting all my stock into that.
Let's get it.
All right, next fight. Cody Garbrandt got fucking rocked by your boy Kai Car France. They call him Don't Blink for a reason.
Bro,
I tried to tell y'all. I tried to tell everybody. I was tweeting it. I was telling it on the podcast. I was sitting on the mountaintops trying to tell you that this was the worst matchup for him.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I thought that if Cody fought how Cody could fight, or if he just fucking he's so stubborn, bro. The dude's like a top wrestler, probably the best wrestler in the 125 division, and he just won't do it. He's like, nah.
Yeah, with Cejudo gone.
It's like, bro, you have all these, like, you have the most tools in the toolbox, and you just keep using a wrench. What are you doing? And that's why he was getting flung across the octagon. Like, it was crazy.
I mean, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
That's what Kai's saying, man.
That's what Kai did. He was like, oh, he's got one move. That's it. Slip it in.
Kai looked like a
lights out.
Devastator, man. Props to Kai, man.
Yeah, it's so tough now for Kai because, I mean, hey, he's going to get his shot and he's going to get right in that blender. But it's always so tough. But, hey, I guess, you know, as I don't want to jump ahead, but as Juliana Pena showed us, like, some of these people who we maybe think like, oh, they're top 5 guys or they're top of the division, but they're not at that championship level. All it takes is that one night. So give my dog Kai the chance.
I don't think Kai's getting a title shot right now. I
think he's
have to fight Askar Askarov, and that's
or Pantoja.
That's a scary fucking fight. No, Askar Askarov is like, I think he's
literally number 2 right now.
Yeah, he should be next, but I think he's willing to fight because he is not a draw. Because I think he's deaf too. Like he's not a draw. So he's just the scariest fighter in the division because there's not a lot to gain. And I think Kai's one of those guys that I think will just take that. Like he'll be like, "Yep, I got it." Like he believes in himself, and I can just see that fight happening. And I'm rooting for Kai, man. I want him to win that. I want to see him fight for that belt. He deserves it.
Are you surprised he didn't move up higher in the rankings? He's only number 6. Still behind Royval, Perez, Pantoja.
Cody wasn't ranked. If Cody had a ranking, then yeah. But Cody
that's actually fair. He beat a guy from out of the... That's true. That's true. I just thought, like, with the name.
Yeah, no, but he definitely got a lot of followers, I bet. You know, people are understanding.
Yep. Kai got some serious power for 125, and his ability to cut off the cage and make it smaller for Garbrandt was the downfall for Cody. Let's hop into the co-main. This split decision between Jeff Neal and Ponzinibbio. Fuck that noise.
That's not the. You said co-main, threw me off. I was like, we're skipping Jeff Neal. This is.
We're skipping that one. Fuck that fight.
Why, dude? I knew that shit. That was the one I knew. I should have went heavy on it, but it scared me. I was like, Jeff Neal is just quicker he's too straight. Bam, bam. Ponzinibbio's thrown over here. It just was a bad matchup for Ponzinibbio. I should have went heavy on this one. I just knew Neal was gonna win. He was a slight underdog. I didn't go with my bet. I bet on it for sure, but I just only bet little bits here and there. I had him in a few parlays, but
I mean, it worked out. I also bet Jeff Neal, and I guess, you know, when it comes on your side, you're happy. But what the fuck was Sal D'Amato doing with the 30-27?
No, it's Sal D'Amato. He just watched it. He just
taking a piss.
No, he was looking at the other judges and he read it wrong.
Because it was the split decision, he saw one round from each of the other judges.
Copy, but it was like bad handwriting on the other judge, so he just like
just copy the homework but change it up a little. Oh shit, okay. Second round, whatever.
And then let's get into it.
Talking about I should have went with your fucking gut. I should have went with my gut on this one. My gut told me that Juliana Pena was going to defeat Amanda Nunes, and it fucking happened. I'm pissed I didn't throw the bag on this fight.
Bro, fucking hell. Went with your gut.
I knew it. I knew that this was exactly how it was going to play out, and at the last minute, I fucking switched it, and I'm heated at myself.
Could we talk about how that choke wasn't even in?
Yeah. I mean, do you
That was fucking, I was like, and then it ended. I'm like, did she even tap? What happened?
Ben Askren
And I'm like, no,
said
round's
this on
over. She
Twitter.
didn't tap. And then all of a sudden they're like, no, there was a minute left. She tapped. I'm like, what?
Ben Askren on Twitter was like, do you lose your GOAT status for getting rear naked choked without the hooks in? Like, disgust.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. There was literally
like almost.
The choke was barely in. So I was she definitely doesn't. I mean, she's whooped everybody. But
right.
Something that was weird, man.
Pena wasn't scared of it and just made it a fucking bloodfest. It was able to take some shots, and then Nunes was trying to throw everything into him to get it out of there quick, and it ended up costing her because she was breathing heavy, started gassing out a little, and that's when Pena was able to put some pressure on her and go for it.
She wanted out.
So, yeah. She gave up. On it. Like, at the end of the day.
Yeah,
she's like,
that was
I got another
shocking.
belt in a different division, so I'm not all the way out.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
but
that was
an absolute shocker.
Yeah, do you think she immediately rematches, or you think she goes back to the other division? She's gonna take it back, right?
Who's she gonna fight?
Kayla Harrison.
She's the only fighter in that division, so
that's true.
No, it's 35. Where there's more women, it's a 35-pound belt.
She just lost the
35-pound belt. Correct.
Yeah, no, she definitely want a rematch for that. That's the fight.
100%.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And we'll
see them in like, just guessing here, May or June.
I was going to say, we'll see them on July when it's the big fucking 3 title fights.
That's what I was kind of thinking. Right. But
the first of like 3.
Summer one.
Yeah, the big summer card with like 3 title fights.
The only reason that was the first one that came to mind with me, but the only thing is unless it's an immediate rematch, I think it's going to be quicker because I think Pena's going to want to capitalize on her being the champ now. And I don't think Nunes is going to be like, let me just go take some time off. Like, that's not Nunes's. You do.
I think Nunes, she's been fighting in 2 divisions and beating everybody up. I think now she's got like, all right, let me go take a couple months off, get my shit right, get my because you got to lose like the drive a little bit after just beating everybody up for like 6
Yeah, but I would think this would be exactly where you get it back, where it's like, she's been on almost cruise control, and now you've been on cruise control, not even looking in the rear view, and then, oh shit, someone just passed you. Like, that's when you hit the gas again.
Let's say the rematch does happen. Who do you think wins?
I mean, I'm not going to bet against Nunes. I'm sorry, I still won't. I saw it with my eyes, but I still don't believe it.
No, you were the one who was correct. What do you think?
I really don't know in this one because I feel like if Nunes just is able to just get a little more volume and just touch her at all with any form of a punch and to then be able to mix in power shots, I think that's where it gets interesting. If she can just keep Pena from coming forward with this pressure and then, all right, pick her shots now, bam, back out, be a little more calculated instead of just constantly just trying to hit her with one hammer to end it all. I think she has a way better chance, but I don't really want to pick against Pena. Like, I just kind of think she might have her number. Let's just get her to throw big shots that I can eat, and when she gets tired, I'll fucking win. And so, I don't know. It just makes me think like she might just have Nunes' number, even though Nunes the GOAT.
Yeah.
Which is weird to say.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Nunes will come in with that same type of fight. I mean, we've seen her go the distance with Shevchenko and pull off that dub in a technical striking match. I think if she approaches it like that, she'll win for sure. But can Pena bring out the brawl and just make it tiring and use cardio as a weapon? I don't know. I'm not betting on that shit. That shit lost my parlays. I was hella mad, but I was happy at the same time because I like to see a little shake up in a division that's been dominated for so long.
I also feel like Juliana Pena is playing the heel, and like we haven't had a female like heel that's just like fuck all of you, like I'm better than everyone, I'm gonna fucking win this shit. Like it's nice to see someone like talk shit and like, I don't know. I feel like it's
Yeah.
been like since Joanna was like, I'm gonna wipe that smile off your face. We haven't had like a heel, someone that's kind of like
And
killing it, you know?
even then, I think it almost goes back to like Ronda when we've had an actual heel. We've had heels in fights, like individual fights, like Wei Li in the first Rose fight, like Joanna when she was talking shit. Like we've had that, but we haven't had like that consistent, just like I'm a bad motherfucker and I'm here. You know, everyone's a little more cordial so far. Durandamy
Yeah.
wanted to be that, but she just doesn't. She's not public enough.
Yeah.
I don't know. She just gives me big like WWE like heel like fuck all of you vibes, and I couldn't be more all in on it.
I love it.
Let's move to the main, guys.
I tried to tell y'all, the man's carries himself like a champion. And everyone said,
you're right, bro. I mean,
you're cutting out right now, fam. Hard. You're probably not even
a fan.
Oh shit!
What's
I just
that?
paused because I said, "Bro."
Oh, sorry. I think internet cut out for a sec.
Yeah,
okay, I think we're back now. But like I was saying, that's where I'm just becoming a massive Oliveira fan because the way he carries himself, the way he fights, and the way he's basically like almost the champions that game continues to develop and silence the doubters. Like one of my favorite fighters is Kamaru Usman, and I love him because he is one of the most dominant fighters in his division. And then not only when people are like, "Oh, Marty Snoozman, this guy's boring. This guy can't do this. This guy can't do that," he shows you that he can do that and more. And that's exactly what Charlie Oliveira is doing right now. Like, oh, he doesn't have a chin. Oh, when he gets hit, he folds. Like, oh, when he gets in a tough top fight, he's gonna crumble. And every step along the way, he's just been proving the doubters wrong. So I'm all in on Charlie Oliveira.
He gets better every single time. He butchered the body. He completely butchered up Poirier with body strikes, and that was a big knees and teeth kicks, everything. That was a big factor in this fight. But go on.
No, I'm just saying I had mixed emotions because, like, man, I feel for Dustin. I mean, anybody who's been watching the UFC for a long enough time, you just got to see his whole story, basically. Like, starting at featherweight, getting almost there, then slept by McGregor, so he said, fuck it, going to lightweight. Unfortunate timing. Climbs his fucking way against Khabib, of course, and it's like, fuck. All right. Climbs his way back again just to get finished by Oliveira same way. It's like, man, like, feel for this guy. You know, he puts in everything. He's a good dude. But
yeah, I get that, but I will say, and I'm starting to kind of develop this theory a little bit, but I think there is an aspect of, and it's kind of like, it's funny that McGregor is my example, and now I think it's kind of happening to Poirier, is when you start focusing on money, fame, and brand, you don't have the same hunger that you did on your come up, and it affects you in a fight. Because this is a sport, but at the end of the day, it's a fight. And these guys, it's kind of like the NFL or it's like the MLB. At this point, everyone there has the skill. And the little things are those little extra work, the little extra preparation, that little extra just killer instinct. That's something inside you. And I feel like some of these top level fighters, when they start getting a taste of that money and fame, it just, and I mean, it's kind of natural. It's not easy to just, when you got $0 in your bank account, you're doing everything possible to just, wake up and try to make $1. Like, that's it. But now it's like your life gets more complicated, and I understand that, but I always wonder that, like, and you do want to build the right way, and obviously the way that Poirier's got there, I'm not going to disrespect his journey by any means, but you just wonder when you get to that top of the mountain, if your head's not right, how much does that affect you?
That's why we need the money weight division.
I don't like to say this, but Is he just choking the biggest moments? Is that just kind of what he does? Or is that just unfortunate due to his opponents? Like bad match?
No, because he would have got starched by McGregor in the second fight if he folded under big
Mhm.
moment. Like, he wouldn't have won that trilogy and like gone through that, had the high. I think he's just, I don't know. I just think he had bad matchups and got beat on those nights. But I would love if this is a hypothetical. I would love if the UFC just made a money weight division, and like it's like Dustin Poirier, McGregor, Tony Ferguson, Nate Diaz, Nick Diaz, like Robbie Lawler could probably be in there. Like, weight doesn't matter. You got to be within like 20 pounds. We'll throw Masvidal up in that shit. Like, and everyone just fights each other. Like, fuck it. Like, you guys want to focus on it? Yeah, it's the money weight division. And there's only like certain people who can like be in there.
And every fight has a belt.
Yeah.
It's not a championship, but they give them a belt every fight.
All the real champs are going to be making fun of that motherfucker every time. Like, oh, have fun with your little.
They already do. They already do. They already make fun of, like, every single time they'll sit there and be like, yo, don't you forget that I'm the champ. Why are you talking about this big, like, prize fight, basically?
Hey, the money belt is going to be called the paper belt real quick. But hey, Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje. Who wins that fight?
Don't make me do this.
Here's what I'm thinking. Obviously, I'm a huge Gaethje fan. He's like top 5 for me in my favorite fighters. Huge fan. Love everything about him. Those leg kicks could change the whole dynamic of that fight. If Oliveira can get him, but the wrestling department Gaethje's a good wrestler. You know, he showed that in the Chandler fight, being able to get out of those, put it on the feet, make it a war. Charles gets hit a lot. He does march forward with that high stance. I don't know. I want Gaethje. I want Gaethje.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I do. Man? I didn't want to have to even put this in my brain until I had to, because it does like terrify me, and I really do like both of these fighters. I do think that if you ask me how I think it goes in my brain, and this might be a little bit of my Gaethje fandom, is that I think that Gaethje is going to have enough in those wrestling exchanges to turn them into just scrambles and chaos versus the dominant positions that Oliveira's been getting to. And then that can at least extend the fight long enough that Gaethje can just start trying to put some real damage on in like the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round. Because as we've seen, I don't think anyone's putting Oliveira out in the first 2 rounds. Like, that dude's got a gas tank.
That's Gaethje's only way.
Really?
Correct. Yeah, I think Gaethje's fucked in a round and a half. I think Oliveira submits him.
Exactly, because Oliveira puts that pressure on you, gets him tired, but also the longer it goes, the more chance for a sneaky ass sub, which could happen at any moment. So I think Gaethje's best call is to beat the fuck out of those legs, get him thinking about that, and then go up top heavy and just start knocking him. Gaethje hits like a truck, and Charles Oliveira's gotten dropped a lot. Don't fall into it, don't drop him and then get on top, because that's a shitty situation.
Yeah, that's honestly what really scares me with Gaethje, is that, and he has shown a lot more discipline in his fighting in his last few fights, but it does terrify me that he's going to rock him once, smell blood, and then try to empty the tank on him, and we could get a similar performance we saw out of what just happened with Poirier.
No, what do you think? And then we'll get on to the next.
I think Oliveira's gonna submit him. I think Gaethje's gonna try to kill him with every single shot, and Oliveira's just gonna be a little more technical. And in the 2nd round, he's gonna sub him. And I think Gaethje's face is gonna turn. Gaethje's face is gonna turn purple, and he's not gonna tap, and that's it. It's gonna be like a mounted triangle or something crazy.
Jesus, I hope not. But we got some time before I have to go through that emotional roller coaster. Actually, that kind of transitions into our next topic. I do have to bring it up. Unfortunately, our friend of the program, the Bane, he was supposed to call his first ever MMA event for Tarps Off Fight Club up in Niagara Falls, Canada. And unfortunately, due to COVID scenarios, they called the event and it is canceled tonight. So, prayers up for Bane. Everyone have a drink for him. Shout him out on Twitter. Much love for that
definitely have
guy.
a drink for him.
Definitely. So hopefully he can at least have a Molson or something in Canada. Because I mean, going to Canada in the middle of December and not being able to call the fight, that's gonna be fucking brutal. So shout out our dog. He will definitely be back on the pod soon. Much love for him. And then let's transition right into any MMA news. What do we got? Nilly said he had something on the docket for us.
Yeah, I heard that Poirier versus Diaz was scheduled for UFC 270 in January. It's verbal.
Not scheduled.
Oh,
I was gonna say.
Shit. They were basically Nate was like telling him he sucked, and then Poirier's like, "I'll fight you this month," and Nate's like, "You're full of shit," because Nate said in January or something like that, and then Poirier said, "I'll fight you this month," and then he went on what's it called? Poirier went on the Ariel Wani podcast and said like, "I just want to fight that excites me. Like, I don't know about my future. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if I'll ever fight at 155 again." But there's one fight that excites him, and that's Diaz. And of course it would. Any Diaz fight's gonna excite anybody. That's my guy right there.
See, I just still don't understand how that. I mean, I understand the check and the hype, but like, how can getting in the cage for it's going to be 5 rounds with any of the Diaz lineage be like a thing that excites you or is considered fun? Like, you got to be a fucking masochist,
bro. And that's the type of fight that like Poirier could be winning like 3 rounds, and I could see him getting slept or like ended by Diaz.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I still do think that we should have.
I'll bet on that fight. I don't care.
Oh, 100%.
I feel bad for Poirier after this loss, but man, I can't go against Diaz like that. And you know it's going to be they're going to be mean to each other, so I'm going to have to pick a side.
Yeah, and I really wish that they would let this go 10 rounds, but they won't.
No. Or just don't call it if Diaz gets bloody. He doesn't care. Nobody cares. He's going to bleed. That's just don't call it. Don't do it in New York.
Ever. Nil, you had something for us?
No.
No? I thought you said a gym announcement or something?
Oh yeah, Bangtao MMA. The boys from Tiger Muay Thai coming out, dropping a new gym in January in Phuket. So I'm excited to see that.
It is in Phuket. It's not going to be in Vegas.
No, it's in Phuket. Bangtao, Muay Thai, and MMA.
Okay. Fire logo.
Yeah, and let me see if I can get some of like the art designs they got going down. This shit better be retarded.
Hell yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, we're gonna always fight. Ooh, okay, I see you.
Yeah, they just got weird random paintings like that and shit. But yeah, the boys, it's fucking one of Alex Volkanovski's coaches, Frank and George Hickman, and one of their boys, this guy Alex, who's a jiu-jitsu coach, been in Thailand for a long time. They're taking some true Thai fighters and Thai coaches from Tiger Muay Thai, and they're starting their own gym. And I think it's going to be massive because they have dorms. They speak English, so guys who want to leave the country here and go there, like, it's going to work for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say about it. Is it's going to be massive for CKB and just fighters and foreign fighters in general who want to train in Thailand, because obviously, Volk and Riddell and a lot of these guys like to either start their camp or have a portion of their camp at Tiger Muay Thai in Thailand. But I think in some ways, Tiger Muay Thai is constantly doing like a year-round training program, and I think it's not really tailored to just going in for like 2 to 4 weeks. Like they can still get good work in, but it's not exactly tailored for them. And I think this gym is going to give them the opportunities to still get that similar work, but to be able to tailor it a little more specific for the MMA world and for exactly what they're training for.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. I'm about to cop some merch and hanging on the pod wall here. And
That merch is clean.
Yeah, exactly. Can't wait to see all the champions that come out of there. Fabricio Andrade was actually doing his camp there for this one fight, the guy we talked about earlier. So right now they just got mats on the floor and there's like no ceilings or whatever, but they're like just getting started.
Love it.
Well, we got to get started into this fight card, bro. There's like 14 fights or 15 fights.
All right, real quick. I got a newcomer.
Nice.
We'll give it all right. Quick newcomer, and then we'll get into it.
All right, my guy, Dominic Wooden. He is known as the Black Panther, and he fights out of Cage Warriors. He's got 3 straight first-round knockouts, and he's got a record of 9-4. So a little bit of struggle, backstory on this guy. He was in Bellator for a bit. He lost 2 straight split decision losses and was cut. And now here he is in Cage Warriors, and he's on a tear. He loves saying that's church. That's like his catchphrase when he like knocks people out. And I kind of like that. And I'm really impressed with his distance control. He's got
kind of church is he going to?
No idea, but I'm down.
The church of
distance control, and he seems to just give people a lot to worry about. And then the second they start worrying about one thing, he hits you with something else. So this cat's very exciting. I kind of want to throw him to the wolves, like Julian Paiva. He's a bantamweight, so 35er. So like someone on that level, someone in the back end like that. Like let's see what he's really about, because the last few fights have just been damn impressive.
Damn, you wasted no time.
No, I'm really not. Like I think he could be something. So let's see it.
Could it be the Church of Latter-day Saints?
Wow.
I'm here all weekend, guys. But anything else on him? Honestly, I'm always excited about a new prospect out of Cage Warriors. Mm-hmm. I mean, the greatest fighter in the world, and Paddy Pimblett, just came out of Cage Warriors, so I'm excited for anyone coming out of it.
No, that's all I got. Let's hop into the fucking pre-fight diaries.
Before that, got to give a shout out to our other presenting sponsor. No Judges Necessary is presented by Acosta Clothing, the hottest streetwear and high fashion brand coming out of the Bay Area in California. They specialize in a range of quality backpacks and accessories. Acosta has been worn by some of the top MMA fighters such as Dom Cruz, Mean Hakeem Dawodu, and our boy Ray Waters. You can find them on Instagram at Acosta Clothing or on their website at acostaclothing.com. Let's get into it, boys. Little Vegas fight card, pre-fight diaries. What do we got now?
First fight, we got an electric nickname, the Monkey King, Jordan Levitt, 8-1 out of the USA, taking on Matt Sales, 8-3, also out of the USA. This is a lightweight fight. Fellas, what do we got?
I'm personally go against Levitt. If I lose and then he does the splits and like does that little twerk thing, I'm gonna be real pissed off. So I guess I'm going with Jordan.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be. I think I'm all in on Levitt in this fight, just purely off of what I saw from Sales in that fight against Bryce Mitchell. Like, he just seemed to not have much on the ground, so as long as Jordan Levitt can find a way to the ground, it should be a pretty easy night for him, in my opinion.
But Bryce Mitchell is a fucking goon on the ground.
No doubt. But Jordan Levitt has submitted 2 of his last 3 opponents. I think if he just gets there, I think this is an armbar for Levitt. He's coming in a minus 124 favorite on the Barstool Sportsbook. I actually want to know... that's probably my pick of the night, or my pick to start. Or I don't know if I'm picking the night, but pick to kick off. You know what? Fuck it, give it to me. Plus 175, Jordan Levitt by submission.
Oh wow!
I'm picking by sub. Kick off your night plus 175. double up your money and a little change on top.
You're not digging Robo Matt Sales?
No, Bo. He's about to be
Bad
hobo
nickname.
Matt Sales after he gets
That's
cut.
his nickname is Robo.
Just Robo.
Robo Matt Sales. ROBO.
Can't bet on that.
No.
He about to be the hobo Matt Sales. Next fight.
Wow, he lost to George Hickman. That's hilarious.
Oh, yeah, I actually meant to bring that up. Yeah, he lost to George Hickman. So, like, again, trash on the ground.
Yep. All right, next fight. We're talking heavyweights. We got Dontail Mays, 8-4 out of the USA, taking on Josh Parisian, 14-4, also out of the USA. This is an interesting fight, but Dontail Mays just sounds like a 1-800 like .com infomercial with like a guy who's just trying to sell you some dog shit. All right, Dontail Mays here.
Oh, yeah, you watching Price is Right, and the commercial comes on, and it was like, in a wreck, need a check? Call Dontail Mays.
Bro, I think Dontail Mays wins this because I'm not big on Josh Parson or
Parisian.
Yeah, I'm not big on that guy.
No, I think
he lost to Parker Porter, and I remember we all went on him. We were like, Parker Porter, you can't lose to that guy, and he got whooped by him. So I'm out on this guy.
Yeah, and I think there's more. I think there's more to the Dontail Mays story. I think he got kind of thrown to the goons early, where he had to fight, Cyril Gane and Nascimento, and got 2 quick losses, but came back on a nice decision against Rock Martinez. Like, I think this could be kind of the, second tail coming out party for Dontail. Let's see what we got. Some quick odds on this
Lord
one.
Kong, Dontail Mays.
Fire. He's coming in at minus 200 favorite. Parisians at plus 160.
I might rock with the Armo, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
Beat him.
I don't even know why. Exactly. That's exactly it. I might just pick the Armenian guy.
Throw a little Lamajun.
All right, dude. I'm done with you. Next fight. We got Raquel Pennington, 12-8, taking on Macy Chason, 7-1 in the female featherweight division.
Yo, this is an exciting fight.
What are we doing?
This is exactly what I wanted to hear out of it. Because you know what? I'm going to make the case for Rocky Pennington. She's a very skilled fighter. She's got a bad record and gets disrespected by assholes like Nil. And you know what?
Oh.
Her only losses in the last fucking 6 years are to Holly Holm, Durandamy, and Amanda Nunes. Heard of them? Yeah. So I think she gets absolutely disrespected. I think she's a very top level fighter. I think she obviously stumbled when she got to the top of the mountain, but I think that her record and the respect she gets is absolutely does not tell the story of Rocky. But Macy Chason is an exciting prospect, and I think this is a perfect first real test for her.
Yeah, I'm actually agreeing with you here. I think this. What are the odds? Because if the odds are very shitty for Rocky, I'll put some money on her. I think this fight's going to be close.
She's a minus 177 favorite.
Who?
So
Rocky?
she's not getting. Rocky is. So she's not getting crazy disrespected, but that seems right in the wheelhouse for me.
Rocky decision all day. I think Macy's good. She's only lost once, right? Who the fuck has she lost to? Lena Landsberg. Yeah, if she could lose to Lena Landsberg, she could lose to Pennington.
That's what I'm saying.
She probably will lose to Pennington.
You're getting plus 105 on that Rocky by decision, so I think that's probably the play here. Yeah. No, I think that, again, this is one of the probably first fights of the night that terrifies me because I think Rocky's going to end up in a lot of my parlays, which obviously scares me, but we'll see. Next fight.
I got to figure out what my food fight is, the one where I'm going to get food. Oh, I found it. Never mind.
It's this,
Well, I'll talk to you.
I think it's
No,
this
it's not
fight.
this fight.
I
I
think
want to
it's the
see
next
this
fight.
fight.
You want to see Charles Jourdain 11-4 against Andre Ewell 17-8 in the featherweight division. That's what you're telling me.
No. I said I'm definitely watching this fight. Charles Jourdain just
But
came
why?
off that. He got fucked up that last fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
He got knocked out. Oh no, he got beat by Erosa. He got subbed.
Yeah.
I
Joey
think
DeRosa on the
Jourdain
entire
wins
show.
this. This is a fight that scares me though, because Andre Ewell he's lost to some good guys. I still think he's a good fighter, but I do have Jourdain here. But like I said, I'm not going to go heavy on this fight. I think Ewell's right in the mix, and I think if the odds don't say that, then maybe I'll kind of switch.
Yeah, Jourdain's a minus 190 favorite, plus 150 for Ewell. So I think that's pretty spot on. I'm kind of the same way. I think Air Jourdain is like, he's right there. Andre Ewell, you got to change up the nickname, dog. Mr. Highlight, you've been on more other people's few years. So we got to figure that out.
Yeah, I'm not with that. I'm not taking Andre Ewell. I don't think he's as good as maybe he's portrayed to be. I don't know. I just think he struggles in big fights, and this kind of seems like a big fight.
Yeah, it's a big test for him. So, like I said, I'm going Jourdain probably parlays. But if I see the walkout and Ewell's looking nice, I'll be like, maybe I'll throw a little on him.
Maybe. Next fight.
Next fight, we got Sijara Eubanks 7-6 out of the USA, taking on Melissa Gatto 7-0-2 out of Brazil in the female flyweight division. What are we thinking?
This is the fight I'm going to get food.
Why?
Because I think this fight will go kind of long. I don't know. Melissa could finish it, but Eubanks, I think, can hang in there for a little bit. And there may be another fight I do this in, and it's a little later in the card because I don't like to get food too early because I eat it in 2 seconds. So it probably actually won't be this fight.
Fair.
Melissa Gatto got 2
This
draws.
is definitely slick on the ground. 0-3. Yeah,
Another
2 draws
draw?
already. I don't know how I feel about that. Her
Let me hear
record
the
just
odds.
okay.
What are
let's
the
see
odds
what
on
we
this
get.
fight? Because I feel like Eubanks is probably like plus 4,000, and I'm gonna be like
Bro,
Eubanks
there's like
all
12
day.
picks left. I gotta take the worst piss, but keep going.
Eubanks is actually a minus 167 favorite.
Then I don't like her in this fight. I like Gatto all day. I like the dog in this
Bit
fight.
of how I was. That was kind of how I was feeling. Where like I like Sijara when she's like an underdog. You know, when she's being counted out, when everyone's like, "Oh, this hot prospect's definitely gonna beat her." But when it's kind of split like this, I don't know. I don't in good
Gatto-
faith think I can bet Gatto.
Gatto by sub. What's the odds? That's where your money's at, I feel like. She's got
Probably.
She's got 5 on her record. You don't think she subs?
Woo! Plus 550. Wow.
Yeah, that's the pick of the night, blood. Right there. That is the pick of the night that I've heard so far. Melissa Gatto by sub on Sijara Eubanks. All day long. I think, Brick, you may have froze. I don't know what the hell's good. But we out here. We shooting the shit. I think this is going to be a great fight. I'm going to hop into the next fight and kind of take it solo here. This is a great fucking heavyweight scrap. We got Justin Tafa, 4-3 out of New Zealand, Australia, taking on Harry Hunsucker, 7-4 out of the USA. Yo, this is a thumper, boys. 2 guys who don't give a fuck, who don't care if they get knocked out. They're both going to come forward and just throw absolute haymakers. So, fellas, what are we thinking?
I want Tafa, and that's what scares me. I think because I want Tafa to win and stay in the UFC, that Hunsucker's going to win.
I almost feel that Tafa's going to stay in regardless because his fights are fucking fun.
But
Like,
he's going to be
win,
4-4.
Correct, but win, lose, or draw, like his fights are fun as shit, and there's not a lot of depth at heavyweight, and you need some sort of draw. That I just feel like, regardless, I get you though. 3 straight losses, he may get cut, but
And not only that, they cut Ty off of that in the heavyweight division. So
right, but maybe they learned their lesson there.
If he ends up 4-4 and just lost to Hunsucker, I think he's not going to be here much longer, in my opinion.
I mean,
and I don't want that because I like the Taffa brothers. I think they're dope. I love watching them, so I'd rather have him be there. But
do you think
that's what scares me? And then I think Hunsucker is going to win because of that whole situation.
Yeah, but do you think that with a similar style with Justin Taffa to Ty, that he can kind of take that blueprint that Ty gave him on Hunsucker? You know, that's at least where I can kind of see it.
Yeah, but I think Ty's on another level.
Taffa came in too raw. That's my opinion. He came in the UFC heavyweights at 3-0. I mean, that's a tough task for anybody. He's got 7 fights, and he's in the UFC. Hunsucker got 7 wins, blood. Like, you know, this is just, I don't know.
If he knocks him out in the first, 3 minutes, yes, he's, I could see him winning. But after the 3-minute mark, I'm pretty sure Hunsucker's going to, I think he's a wrestler too. I think it's going to be a long night.
I don't think this is going to help any of our confidence. Minus 335 for Justin Taffa, plus 250 on Hunsucker.
Oh, shit.
That really doesn't help anything.
No, it really doesn't.
Let me see.
Taffa by knockout is minus 200. That's too big. That's just too big. And we're all Justin Taffa fans here. We love him. We love the whole family. We love the whole lineage. But I don't know. Hunsucker is not that bad of a fighter. His only 2 losses in the UFC were to Tai Tuivasa and Jared Vanderaa. Those are 2 legit heavyweights. So I think this should be a lot closer, and that really terrifies me, to be honest.
Yeah, and is he a wrestler?
I think he comes from a wrestling background, but at least his last few fights, he's mostly stood and banged. Definitely will try to get some of the clinch work going.
Yeah, like I said, going for Taffa, I really want to see him win here, but this fight scares me for some reason, and maybe it's the gut feeling, but it's gonna be one where I'm gonna put some little side money on him on Hunsucker. So if he does win, this thing won't hurt so bad.
The emotional hedge, yeah, I don't hate that, honestly. Don't parlay it, don't nothing, just if my boy loses, I get a little cash in the pocket. I don't hate that. Next fight?
Next fight, we got Raoni Barcelos, 16-2 out of Brazil, taking on Victor Henry, 21-5 out of the USA in the bantamweight division. To be honest, I don't know shit about Victor Henry. Someone inform me.
So what I found out, he's kind of a journeyman. This dude has fought in every promotion. He's coming from one called Lights Out Fighting. He was formerly in Rising.
You know who owns that? Lights Out Fighting.
Who's
that? Sean Merriman owns that.
Oh, really? Oh, Lights Out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
And that actually makes sense because their 3 letters is LXF. So it's Lights Out Fighting. I like that. Little Merriman. Okay. Yep. So that's where he just came from. He was in Rising for a little bit. He was in Deep. He was in CXF. This dude's just been all around. But out of his last, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Out of his last 9 fights, he's 8-1, coming off a rear naked choke. But I think for a UFC debut, Raoni Barcelos is a goon. This dude's legit.
Looking at Henry's, I was maybe he's beaten somebody we know since he's fought everywhere. He beat Kyler Phillips a split decision in 2018. That's
Okay.
something about you. You know, that's the only guy I can kind of really put my finger on. That's like, oh shit. So
Interesting. Barcelos is a minus 345 favorite, as would kind of be expected here. But
I don't know. I might go with a new guy here. Barcelos fights like once every year. It seems like. Who is he beating? You know, he's beating some okay guys. Nobody too crazy. I think his record is a little
misleading.
Oh,
yeah, a little bit here.
Stop
because
this noise. Stop this fucking noise. Barcelos is going to win this fight all day long. Vic,
I think you're right. I think he should, but I'm not gonna. There's a random new guy. Whenever they put a random new guy against a tough ass dude like this, there's a reason behind it.
If you look at some of the records of the opponents that Victor Henry fought when he first started, it is very questionable.
Kyler Phillips,
Kyler Phillips was 5-0 at the time. Victor Henry started fighting guys that were 0-3 and like 8-17 when he first started out. And then he started fighting guys that were 6-0 once he got experience. So I'm kind of calling Pat. And his 5 losses were to guys that were like 19-3 or 17-2, right around the record of Barcelos. And I could easily see 17-2 and 21-6. And we're talking about this cat next time, Henry, off a loss, and we all bet against him again, and then he sparks the guy.
Oh, analytic nil going off our bullshit.
You used my own fucking theory against me. You're right.
Yeah, that's just how I feel. I don't know. No, but Barcelos just seems like he's going to grapple and just wrestle and use his like experience in the octagon against Henry. And that's how I think he wins this fight. Make it grimy and just make him tired. Lean up against him, drag it down.
Let me look up one weird stat here. And I have to do this myself. I'm going to see. He's fought in hella promotions, right? This Henry guy. Let's see if he wins or loses that first fight in the promotion.
Ooh, I like where your head's at. And you got to be careful on him because he's fought in the same promotion multiple times at different points in his career.
All right, and I'm gonna skip the first.
For fighting in a new promotion, this cat kind of pretty money, bro. Like
his first LXF fight, he won. His first Ryzen fight, he won. His first RCC fight, he won. His first Deep Impact fight, he won. His first Pancrase fight, he won.
He won his first King of the Cage fight.
Yep.
Bro.
He lost his first... Oh, no, that was a grappling bout. Quintet Fight Night.
I don't know. Shit.
That's...
See the debut king?
No.
The debut king, Victor Henry?
Oh, shit.
I don't know. That's some juicy odds if you believe in it. Plus 260. But
I love stats
let's hop
like
in.
that.
See, those are the kind of stats that will bring you here at No Judges Necessary.
We think of everything.
Next fight,
we got Gerald Meerschaert, 33-14 out of the USA, taking on Dustin Stoltzfus, 13-3, also out of the USA in the middleweight division. Fellas, what do we got?
This is the fight where I go get food.
probably because, and I kind of wanted to. We usually wait a little bit, talk about the fight, then we get into the odds. I want to kick it right off with the odds. It's minus 240 for Meerschaert, plus 185 for Stoltzfus. In my opinion, the fact that Gerald Meerschaert is a smaller favorite than our last 2 fights is insanity. Absolute insanity. Dustin Stoltzfus, he's got a decent record in 13-3, but he's coming off 2 straight losses, and it was to Kyle Daukaus and who was the other one? Yeah, decent, but like Kyle Daukaus and Rodolfo Vieira. So decent in that division, but before that, he hasn't had like, I don't think you've ever heard of anyone who, he had 1 win off the Contender Series, which he got a slam win, if you actually remember that. He slammed the guy and the guy broke his arm when he tried to like land on it and his elbow like snapped in. So as far as I'm concerned, Dustin Stolfus has shown me nothing. Like, he had one good takedown in a Contender Series fight that caused a weird injury. And now you're throwing him to Gerald Meerschaert, who's been around the block fucking twice? He was around the block before Dustin Stolfus' dad even showed up on the block. So I think he's going to absolutely dismantle him. I think he's going to go into pretty much every one of my parlays. Like, I hate that it's such a big favorite, minus 240, so it's not a hot take, but like, this is the absolute lock of the fucking night, lock of the century. People forgot. Gerald Meerschaert, like, yeah, he's got losses, but he's got losses to real fighters in this division.
This fight, the things about it though, the reason I'm going to get food for this fight is because Meerschaert takes forever to finish a dude. So I think you're right. I think Meerschaert's probably the reasonable favorite here. I'm not going to put him in deep in parlays as you're talking about, but I'm going to go. That's where I'm sliding to get some food or something.
I do think that is a good play. You cash your plus 260 Victor Henry fight ticket and then immediately go. You'll have a good 30 to 40 minutes cleared out for Meerschaert. He will go to work on him, but it's just like Meerschaert's losses in the last 4 years.
Round 3 submission, Meerschaert.
Yo, I'm going to hit you guys again with your own take. This man's never won 3 fights in a row in the UFC, and he's won 2.
I don't care. I just really don't care.
He's not winning this fight. Dude, he's not.
The guys he's lost to, Khamzat, Heinisch, Eric Anders on a split decision, Kevin Holland and Jack Hermanson, and Thiago Santos. Dustin Stolfus has never even watched a fight as good as those guys.
That's totally fair. I just think he finds a way to get it done. I think Meerschaert's fading in his career.
That's fine, but he's still, it's the same thing as his last 2 fights against Fabianski and Murderov, where they were like, oh, he's fading. We're just going to throw him some random prospect on the way up, and he's going to fucking snatch this dude's neck.
And he did that twice, and I'm not betting that he's going to do it a third time.
Fair?
At 33-14, I just don't see it.
I mean,
34-14.
I think Meerschaert.
I'm not going to sit here and say Stolfus is nice.
I think Meerschaert, every time he's scheduled to fight, I'm like, for some reason, I think he's going to lose. Every single time, even if he wins. I always think that. But this is the one fight I'm like, I think he can probably win this. And that is what scares me.
That actually terrifies me. Next fight. Talk about a terrifying affair. Did we just lose P? Did P just go get some food? Oh, well, our connection issues have been all over the place.
We got Darren the Damage Elkins, 26-9 out of the USA, taking on Cub Swanson, 27-12, also out of the USA in the featherweight division. This is a great fight. These are 2 absolute legends and veterans of the sport. Cub Swanson, more specifically, coming from the WEC days, been around the block. He's fought absolutely everybody. So, yeah.
This smells like a classic Darren Elkins fight where he's going to get his ass kicked the first round, and then the second 2 rounds he's going to make it a dirty-ass fight and somehow pull out a dub. I don't know. I'm not saying that's going to happen because, again, he's one of those fighters that I think is going to lose every single time, but he somehow wins. And Cub, he looked great the last couple fights, but this is a scary fight for Cub. I think I don't know. If Cub doesn't get him out in that first round, I think it's going to be a real war.
In full transparency, I got to give the stat that I have. Since 2018, these 2 fighters are combined 5-10. Ooh. It's not great, but I am still ridiculously excited for this fight. It makes no fucking sense.
See, these are guys who would be like, these are questionable, like, money weight fight guys.
They're the unranked. They're unranked in the money weight division.
Yeah, these are the kind of fighters. You know what I mean? That's just like, I don't care what your record is. I don't care what weight class it's at. If you guys are fighting, I'm gonna watch it.
Correct. No, I agree. I mean, I don't know which way I'm leaning on it. Let's check some odds here so we can at least have an idea. Cubs actually coming in at a minus 200 favorite,
Oh, I
plus
don't like that.
160 on Darren Elkins. I
I'm
think I'm
going on
leaning.
Elkins, bro.
I think I'm leaning Elkins.
Uh,
Anytime the lights are brightest, anytime Cubs supposed to make his like breakthrough moment, he just falls off.
Bro, I got
But
Elkins on this shit. I don't know why. It's just telling me. I'm just getting.
I think it's just going to be. I think it's going to be one of those fights that it's going to go to the judges, and Elkins is going to just look. His shots are going to just look a little more powerful, even if Cub might actually outpoint him. And I think this is going to be a Darren Elkins decision, and everyone on Twitter, all the Cub Nation, is going to come out and be like, "Well, look at these stats. He actually outstruck him on significant strikes, 156 to 120." But like Elkins is just going to hang in there and just hit one or two more power shots that are just going to win him slight rounds.
What's Darren Elkins by submission?
Getting wild here.
I think he wins by submission the second round.
Elkins by submission is plus 600.
I like that.
I think he wins by sub in the second round. I agree with Matty P. I mean, they call him the damage. He's literally going to be bleeding and take a shitload of damage in the first round. And I think he's grimily going to find a way to survive. And in the second round, Cub Swanson's going to shoot for a takedown, and there's going to be some grimy sprawl, and he ends up submitting him. Some sort of like head choke.
Interesting. I don't hate that. Plus 600 is juicy.
He just gets up and flexes, all bleeding from the forehead with this damage tattoo. I could so see it. 18-4, 27-13.
And if you like the second round, you can get plus 120 on under 2.5 rounds. So that could be a play too if you can. I mean, I thought this would go to decision, but if Nilly's
what's
looking
hilarious
into that crystal ball,
that damage tattoo and nickname, it's like she for sure got damage because of the name, and he's like, because I give damage to people. But bro, it ended up being because you could take so much damage.
100%.
Oh God, it's such a bad tattoo as well.
No, but
it's so bad, it's great.
It's so perfect. It's so perfect though.
Darren Elkins seems like
looks good.
Oh, his tattoos and just his look and like how bloody he gets, he's just a video game fighter. Like he's a creative fighter. You put a random bad tattoo on it because you couldn't afford the good tattoos yet in the game when you were creating your fighter. And you just get in wars with it.
Yikes.
Next fight.
We got Diego Ferreira, 17-4 out of Brazil, taking on Mateus the Gamer Gamrot, 19-1 out of Poland in the, what is this, lightweight division?
Yeah.
I think
lightweight division.
I think this fight's a way closer fight than the odds are going to make it. I think Gamrot's pretty record. You know, he's should probably win, but Carlos Diego Ferreira is no joke. He's legit. This is a good test for him, and I think it's going to be a closer fight. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm dead ass wrong, but I think it's going to be kind of close.
Me and P are
ranked since like 2014.
Dude, that's
me and P are kind of on the same wavelength. I was very high on Gamrot. He's been training with Tybura and Blachowski, or Blachowicz. Sorry. Shout out Dortmund, Blachowski. But he's been training with Jan Blachowicz and my Marcin Tybura out in Poland, and they definitely got some, secret sauce going up in there. So, like, I do think that, like, it's just obvious to pick Gamrot, and like you said, it's a minus 200 favorite. It's a pretty big favorite, and I think this is an absolute trap for him.
Yeah, I will probably, maybe if I make like an underdog parlay, I'll throw Diego Ferreira in there. But I'm not throwing Gamrot in any parlays, even though he probably might win. It's just a scary situation that I'm not heading down.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a sit back and don't touch fight.
I'm rocking Gamrot all day.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a trap!
It seems like it.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm definitely rocking Gamrot. I think he's the new wave. He lost a split decision to that guy Kutetaladze in his UFC debut, and then he's come on to win 2 straight. He just came off of Kimura over Jeremy Stevens. That shit
If he
was
could lose to
nasty.
that guy, he could lose to Carlos.
Yeah, he could definitely lose this fight, but I don't think he's going to. I don't know. I think this cat's well-rounded. I think he's a savage, and it's going to be too much for Ferreira, even though he's been around the division and been ranked. I think Gamrot's going to put the pressure on him and break him. And I could easily see a finish, but I like Gamrot money line just to be safe. Who's favored? Have we gone over that and I'm blasted? Or?
Yeah, Gamrot's a minus 200 favorite.
Okay.
So that's where I do
That's
agree.
kind
He
of
should,
right in the wheelhouse of like what I thought.
yeah, he should be a favorite, but that's just where we think it could be a bit of a trap, where it's just like, I think this is just a little too soon for him. You know, like, I don't know. I think, yeah, he learned a lesson in his debut and he has looked better, but I mean, similar in his training partners like Tybura, like Jan Blachowicz, they sort of took a few L's along the road until they got to the top. So I wouldn't be shocked to see the same thing happen to Gamrot.
All right, let's
Next
get
fight.
the next fight. We got Rafael Asensio, 27-8 out of Brazil, taking on Ricky Simon, 18-3 out of the USA men's bantamweight division. What are we thinking?
I got some Ricky Simone. I think this should be what happens, but Asensio's got some power. You know, he could get dropped at any time, but Ricky's legit. I think he's going to pressure him, grapple him, push him against the fence, make it his fight. But Asensio's still, you know, he's always a one shot away from knocking somebody the fuck out. So
Yeah, I mean, keeping on the trend of big favorites, I was shocked to see Ricky Simone at a minus 278 favorite. I think it is a good matchup for him. I'm with you. I think he's just going to chain wrestle and just absolutely drain the gas tank of Asensio, but I don't know. This dude's legit. He's been ranked for a while. I think he's been overlooked. You know, Rafael's still a good fighter. I do think Ricky is on his way to being a top 10 fighter. So the natural progression, you got to beat the guy right on the top 10 if you want to be in the top 10. So I do like Ricky, but that line terrifies me. Nell, any take?
Yeah, I think Ricky Simon with his aggressive chain wrestling is going to be too much for Asensio. I think he's going to push him against the cage and really work him and start to fatigue him. And it's like every time Asensio gets up, it's going to actually play to his downfall because Simon will just put him back down and he just wasted a lot of energy. I think it's going to be one of these classic chain wrestling Simon fights.
Yeah, I think I might like the only way it's making sense in my brain almost to bet this fight is have Ricky Simon in your parlays because he's a big favorite and you can get some juice elsewhere, and then put a little bit of a hedge bet on Asensio in the first round because I do think he could spark him quick. But I do agree with y'all that once Ricky gets his hands on him and this gets deeper into the fight, I think Asensio is going to lose his legs, which will take out that one punch knockout power.
Yeah. All right, let's get in the next fight.
Let's get it.
We got Amanda Lemos, 10-1 out of Brazil, taking on Angela Hill, 13-10 out of the USA in the female strawweight division. What are we thinking on this? To me, this is interesting because I feel like Angela Hill always take on these like 10-0 savages. And maybe I just don't get it, but like, why? And there's still always interesting fights. I'm just a bit confused.
Because I feel like Angela Hill always is trying to get to that top just like anybody else. She gets so close and then loses that big fight every single time. And I think this fight is more interesting because Amanda Lemos has that. She has power. She's knocked out girls in her last 2 fights. And Angela Hill is all volume. So we're going to see a volume versus power fight. And I'm interested to see who wins. I think, again, it's one of those fights where everyone's probably just betting the house on Lemos. And it's like, if
and I think
doesn't get knocked out, she's going to land more punches most likely. And how the judges score that is going to be a whole nother situation.
Yeah, and I honestly think that the UFC just kind of uses Angela Hill as like a measuring stick, where it's just sort of like pretty much anyone that's kind of beat her, at least in the last few years. She had a little bit of a tough stretch, but even back to like 2018, the people that she loses to usually end up ranked in the top 10. Claudia Galdea, Michelle Watterson, and Tisha Torres. Like, those are all very legitimate fighters. So I think it's sort of just like she's the entry ticket. Like, if you want to be at the big girl table, like, you have to beat Angela Hill first. And Amanda Lemos, again, has shown a couple impressive performances, but this is your real, ticket to the real UFC.
Who do you
Yeah, I mean,
think?
people are using Angela Hill as a stepping stone, and it's kind of worked out. And we're about to find out if Lemos can pass the test.
What scares me is that if we're playing off my number theory, Amanda Lemos at 11-1-1, that's too many ones, and I just don't know about that.
I agree. And Angela Hill at 14-10, that sounds about right.
Feels perfect.
Yep. And if you're crazy enough to do it, plus 250 on Angela Hill. These are always the big tickets I feel like she cashes.
And that's why I'm going to take Lemos. I'm riding against y'all. I think she knocks her out.
Well, you're going to have 11-11. You better make a wish, buddy.
I'm about to.
Yeah, real talk. And Lemos by finish, you're getting plus 188. So you got to almost take the by finish if you're going to bet her.
Yep.
Has Angela Hill finished?
Not since an armbar by Randa Marcos in 2019. She's never been knocked out.
Oh, damn.
Tisha Torres couldn't get her out of there. Gardelia couldn't get her out of there. Yan Janan could not get her out of there. Courtney Casey couldn't get her out of there. Loma, like Ashley Yoder.
Okay. That adds a little to my fire right there. I like that. Because like I said, I think Amanda's going to come out going hot first round. But if she can get out of that first round, not get knocked out, and play the volume game.
Yeah, and it's kind of one of those things that some of these fighters that come up and they're just sort of knocking everyone out, they just assume when you feel that power, the fight's over. And when the fight isn't over with Angela Hill, what's next for Amanda? But what's next is a banging co-main event.
Let's go. We got Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, 16-5 out of the USA, taking on Belal. Remember the name, Muhammad, 19-3, also out of the USA. Welterweight division clash. This is a great fight because Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, very karate style, one of the true specialists left in MMA, very unique. You know it's him when he's fighting. But he's taking on a killer in Muhammad who's not scared of anyone, doesn't back down, has great boxing and takedown defense, and has been a real threat. But now we're starting to see him fight the upper echelon of the division. It's a great fight. Who do we got?
This is such a tough one.
Fucked up.
What's that?
I said if Bully B can't get this thing to the ground, he's gonna get fucked up. He can't strike with Wonderboy. He cannot strike with Wonderboy. And if he tries, it's too much of a puzzle. He's gonna get picked apart, possibly KO'd. But if Bilal can make it dirty against the cage, a lot of grappling exchanges, chain wrestling, I could see it. But again, Wonderboy's hard to get close to. Burns did it, but Burns is a goon. Like, not everyone is Gilbert Burns. So I'm interested to see. I'm probably not going too heavy on this fight, to be honest, because I don't really know.
No, I'm kind of with you. I think it's a perfect matchup that it had to happen because it seems like two guys at almost the top of the division that no one really wants to fight because, again, they're not the fight that immediately propels you into the number one contender or the title shot, but they're also absolute goons that if could be a bad matchup for anyone. So I'm more excited in the fact of like this fight had to happen and the ripples throughout the division, either way of how this fight goes, is going to affect the next full like 2 years of this division. Because if Wonder Boy sparks him, like he's right back in that blender. And then if Remember the Name, he gets it done against a legend like Wonder Boy, like you can't deny him anything he's asking for on Twitter.
Yeah, and I mean, playing the numbers game, I could definitely see 17-5-1 and 19-4 over 20-3, 16-6.
Yeah,
That's the
I
number
think,
game.
and especially with how this division usually works, I think Muhammad's got a couple more lessons to learn before he gets to that top. And I think this might be one of them. And I
I'm
mean,
curious on Nil. I want to see what Nil thinks because maybe able to convince me.
No, I think Bilal Muhammad's going to get picked apart, to be honest. I think, yeah, like you were saying, Wonder Boy is like impossible to like plan for. And it's just, I think it's going to be a problem. If Bilal can get to some wrestling, maybe there's a chance. But again, it's hard to close the distance on this guy. It's hard to wrap two arms around him and slam him on the ground.
Yeah, I feel like
I really lean Wonder Boy Thompson. I could see one of these vintage spinning kicks. He's just setting him up by throwing side kicks to the knee, the body, and then all of a sudden, bam, he spins.
that's kind of the only real avenue or opportunities I think he's going to get. And again, it's with Wonder Boy, you never know when it's going to happen. But I think one of those body kicks or low kicks, he's going to have an opportunity to catch it and blitz him. I think that's really your only chance. Like, I think he's going to try to you almost have to like middle linebacker, like the second he's off balance, hit the hole and try to double leg him, because otherwise, if you freeze in the hole with him, it's like Barry Sanders. He's about to shake you and you have no idea where he's at. So,
what are the odds looking like?
Let's see what we got here. Wonder Boy is a pretty big favorite. Let's see what the money line minus 230 for Wonder Boy.
Ooh, that's not too juicy.
No. Let's see if we can get any. If you think you can actually get that knockout, the Wonder Boy by knockout would be plus 300. Him by decision is minus 106. So I don't know. Bilal's obviously got a chin on him, so I could see him just kind of,
He does get knocked out sometimes.
True.
Who would he get knocked out by? Jeff Neal, for sure.
But I wonder if like the volume.
He didn't knock him out. It was somebody else. It was who the hell was that?
I'll get you a stack check real quick.
Vicente Luque. That's who it was.
Luque. But that was back in 2016. So been a long time, a lot of fights since then. But I agree that when you really look at Bilal's record, he hasn't really seen a striker of. I mean, there's not many strikers of Thompson's level, but even a similar style in his last, since pretty much the Jeff Neal fight.
Melander's not too much to figure out.
Yeah.
That's exactly why I'm going Thompson.
Yeah,
you can't just for 8 weeks try to figure out a guy like this unless you've had some real experience fighting someone like that. It's just impossible to figure out, and I think he's going to find a way to fuck up Bilal Muhammad. But Muhammad's stock's not going to go anywhere. I think he's going to take the beating like a champ and still be in that relevant mix. He's just not going to be at the big boys table like he's trying to be.
Yeah, but I will say there is a little part of me that says Bully B is going to shut us all the fuck up. Then I'm going to tweet out this clip. Then he's going to come on the podcast and tell us that we're all wrong.
Sure.
Main event, let's do it.
Let's go. Woo! We got the ex-cop, Chris Daukaus, 12-3, out of the USA, Philadelphia, taking on Houston's finest, Derek Lewis, the Black Beast, 25-8. Heavyweight division, main event, last main event of the year. What are we thinking?
I got to go with the Black Beast. I have to. I mean, This is
Yeah.
a fight that Daukaus, if he doesn't play smart, anytime at this fight, 5 rounds, you can get hit by Derek Lewis, and nobody can take a punch from Derek Lewis. I don't care who you are. And Derek Lewis is coming off that loss in his hometown, and he said he wanted to get back in there quick and get that shit over with. And I think he's gonna be throwing some heavy fucking hands. And obviously, Chris Daukaus isn't a joke either. But he's only had like 4 fights. He's never been hit by anybody on the same level of power as Lewis, and he's smaller. He's a smaller heavyweight. So
yeah, that's the only thing that I wonder is, I mean, I don't think 5 rounds exactly like benefits for Daukaus. If this was a 3-round fight, I think his athleticism and footwork as a smaller heavyweight, where he could just kind of try to dance around, stay on the outside, stay out of that range, and never really get in the firefight. But at some point in 5 rounds, push is going to come to shove, and Lewis is going to get his hands on you, and them some big old hands.
what about you, Noah? What do you think?
I kind of lean Daukaus. I just think this is where, and not by much, honestly. I respect the fact that Lewis could knock out anyone. He has knocked out pretty much anyone. But for some reason, I just think people are so like, yeah, this is easily a bounce back fight. He easily gets it done. And I just think someone who was a former cop in a very gang violent city, he's going to have the mental fortitude to overcome a guy who just throws hammers. And I think somehow, some way, he finds a way to get it done.
There ain't no type of mental fortitude that could take a Derek Lewis punch, though.
But I'm talking.
I mean, stepping in front of a Mack truck.
But to stay alert for 5 rounds, to be able to avoid them, that's more where I'm at.
Well, here's another stat.
Finds a way.
Daukaus hasn't even gotten past the 2nd round before. He's knocked out every single opponent. Every single opponent. He's like 4 knockouts in a row in the UFC. He's happy with his hands. Maybe he's fallen too in love with his hands, and he's just gonna stand there and strike with Lewis, which I think is a horrible, horrible idea.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have looked at it yet, but let's play a little whose line is it anyways. What do you think the line on this fight is?
If you're saying that, it makes me think Daukaus is the favorite. You wouldn't say whose line is it anyway in a Derek Lewis fight, Daukaus, if it wasn't weird.
I'm going close to pick him, slight favorite Daukaus.
Yeah, you guys are pretty much spot on. -139 for Chris Daukaus, plus 115 for Derek Lewis. I mean,
I'm eating that fucking Derek Lewis money line all fucking day.
Yeah, and Lewis, you can get a little extra juice by knockout plus 160. Give me that all fucking day, like all day.
What's Daukaus by knockout?
Plus 120.
What? That's insane.
Yo, this is insane. Is Vegas onto something here?
Yeah, I mean, even the rounds.
These only knocked out wrestlers, basically. First off, his first knockout was Parker Porter. We could throw that out. Then Rodrigo Ferreira. Throw that out. Then he knocked out Olenek. Wrestler dude.
A lot of people have done that.
Then Shamil Abdurakhimov, wrestler guy. When has he gotten in a fight with someone who throws fucking hands?
Nah, yeah, I think this could be a very early, like, Daukaus is going to, like you said, have confidence in his hands, get in, be first on the exchange, and when Derek Lewis still is standing there.
First round. Derek Lewis is just in there with Gon. Gon is technical as fuck, hard to hit. He's finally going to get somebody who's going to be there to hit.
Round 1 plus 350 on Derek Lewis.
Round, hitting that.
I really don't hate that at all. But
Chris Daukaus, the cop, getting a main event. I'm rocking with him. I think he's going to find a way to get this done. Let's take the slight favorite. Vegas knows something. Last one of the year. Let's cash all your bets. I hope all your parlays hit.
Yeah, and talking about last of the year before we get out of here, and I appreciate anyone who stuck through these 2 hours with our technical difficulties. But coming up soon, we will have the 2021 Judges Awards. So hit us up on Twitter if you got any candidates, nominees, or
Is it
if you'd like to be a part of it.
judges or judges?
The Judges.
Judges. Gotcha.
Yeah. P was not part of the podcast last year when we had it. We had a lot of fun with it in 2020. We're going to have a big one in 2021. But shout out to all our fans. Shout out to all our sponsors. Much love. We out.
Goose.